Welcome to Decorate a Room After Wallpaper Removal. My name's Stephen from Inexteriors Painters and Decorators, and you're watching Inexteriors TV. Right, before I've done decorate a wall after wallpaper removal. Now, what I'm going to attempt to show you is to decorate a room after wallpaper removal. So this video is going to have to be done over a few parts. I mean, I don't, probably in between 3 or 4 parts, I'm not sure, because the room isn't fully complete yet, because we've got the electrician to put new sockets in, so that's going to need patching up. My mate needs to plaster this window bay wall, so that needs sorting out, so that's stopping us from going right through and finishing it. But what we can do is part 1, and in part 1 we can sand the walls and ceilings, we can rake out any of the loose bits, like rake any cracks, rake out any of the loose bits like that are up there, which I'll show you in a minute, and we can start to patch them up with some bonding. Right, so I think with that said, let's do this. Right, first let me introduce to you this. This is what I'm going to be sanding the main areas with. Then the internal parts where you would cut with a paintbrush, I'll do with some sandpaper. So this is a 150 grit sandpaper on here. I mean, I've got this machine given to me by a kind person called James Nixon, so thank you very much, James. Yeah, he gave me this, and some sanding pads come with it, and the roughest one I've got is 150. I mean, I probably would have liked to have tried an 80, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I've sanded the rest of the building down with a 150 and it's been okay, but I think it might just be slightly better with 80. But we are where we are. And also I'm going to use 60 grade sandpaper for all the cutting in areas, for all the areas that this can't get to. Now a decent 80 grade sandpaper will be fine as well. It's just I feel that sanding it with the 80 grit, it just wears out a bit quicker, but it will do it. So 60 grit is just a bit more harder and it just goes a bit further. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is now is give you a look around, and then we're going to set about it. So what we've got here is sort of cracks like that. Let's give you a there's that up there. I mean, there's loads of cracks, so we've said we're not gonna sort of line the ceiling because the guy is going to be selling it. So we've got that there. I mean, this is the area that needs to be done by the plaster and the window bay. I'm sure he'll sort that out, but I will sand it and PVA it for him off camera. And we've got that there to repair. I mean, there's loads of little airline cracks. So like I say, we're not going to tape them because there's just too many. But it should be okay. They probably will come back over time, but like we say, the guy's going to be selling it. Right, so basically there's everything here in this room that you could, there's all the things in this room that you would come across if you was doing a full house more or less. So what we do is now is I'll just show you what we're going to do first, and what we're going to do first is just go around and check for any plugs, any raw plugs, anything that's protruding from the wall. So stuff like this obviously needs to come out first, because obviously you can't sand over that, because it'll just knacker your sander. can scrape their heads off, then knock them back into the wall. Or you can just take them out like this. Or you get stubborn ones. That's it. See, that one's sunk under. So did that one. And that's out. Right, now I've got everything out that's protruding. We're ready for sanding, and then also I'm going to sand it, and then I'm going to do the raking of the loose bits. If you want to watch a video of how I sand the ceiling after the wallpaper's been removed, and how I sand the walls by hand, by hand sanding, there will be a video, the videos will pop up at the end of this video on an end screen. But also, if you had a big project and it was just even though it was just your house and you had it all to do, you can get these through between about, I think starting at about 120 quid. 120 quid to 200 quid. I mean, obviously you can get your Merkers, which are a lot more money, but this will do the job, and this has done the job. So if you'd like to purchase something similar to this, please feel free to check out the links in the description below. And also, if you feel like, if you're doing any other decorating projects, please feel free to check out my tool store. The links are in the description below, and I'll also put the links in the description for the other hand tools that I'm using, like the multi-tool and some sandpaper and stuff like that. So that's all the main areas sanded. Now I'm going to go around all the edges where the sander couldn't get to, and at the same time I'm going to dig out any loose bits ready for PVAing and then bonding. Because I think this is staying in the same place, and they're going to be just replacing the switches, I'm going to loosen the switch and clean around it. But these sockets here, which are only single sockets, are going to get replaced with double sockets, so then they're probably going to be repositioned elsewhere. I'm not too sure, or maybe in the same place, I don't know. But it's not until the electrician actually takes them out and takes the back boxes out, that's when I'll start doing my work around them. So that's another job later on. So let's get sanding. There may be any loose. Missed one there. Right, so this is the bit that's going to be raked out. Right here we do have these cracks. There is no movement there, so what we're going to do is rake these out, and then we'll dust them off for filling. Now I've had a chat with the guy and there's loads of cracks about, and we're just going to fill them. And then he said if he hasn't sold the property and they become a problem in 4 years time or something, we will then line the ceilings. But for now we're just gonna rake the cracks and fill them. Right, now we're all sanded and I've got that window bay PVA'd for my mate. What I'm going to do is now PVA this up here, so ready for bonding. So I'm going to dust this down and bond it. And off camera, I have bonded the little holes where I pulled the raw plugs out as well, or most of them anyway. But it doesn't matter. We can always, you know, what's key is you're not trying to get everything first time. You're just trying to get what you can see first time. Then once you get a coat of paint on it, it'll then highlight more that you need to fill. So like I say, we're just getting what we can see. You know, you get 2 or 3 attempts at it, because you get it first time round, then you get a coat of white on it, then you get your second time round, then you get your first coat of colour, then you get another chance to fill. So, you know, there's stages. Right, so we'll leave that to dry now, and then we'll come back and patch it up, and then that'll be stage 1 complete. So what we'll do is we'll come back, patch it up, and then I'll give you a look around with the camera of what it looks like after the first stage. So you never try and fill stuff like this in one go. So we'll give it like a backing coat, like a bond up, put bonding on it, and then we'll give it a couple of coats of easy fill. And also when I'm filling it, I'm not trying to fill it proud either, I'm just trying to leave it like set back a bit. Oof, it's warm. Right, so we've sanded it with the mechanical sander. We've sanded all the edges with some 60 grit sandpaper. We've then raked out any of the loose bits. When we've then uni-bonded, like PVA'd, and then we put some bonding in the gaps and in the where we pulled the raw plugs out and a couple of other holes. So there still will be more filling to do, but what we'll do next is basically give it a coat of paint, and then that will highlight the more stuff that we need to fill. So let me just give you a look at it at this stage now. So the ceiling. We've put some bonding in, you know, we PVA'd that bit and bonded it. You've got this here. And can you see down the edge of the frame, it's nice and clean. There's no paper or any bits of protruding bits, and the same on the skirting boards. Like I said, the sockets are still to come out, but they're going to be getting changed, so we'll have to fill them holes, so I'll deal with that then. I think that's happening in a couple of days' time. And then I'll just give you a little look around here. See, again, we've just filled where we had the raw plugs with the bonding. I did these off camera, these bits. And then I did PVA that window bay and stick some more bonding around that, so that gets that another step closer to being plastered for me mate, or so my mate can plaster it. Take care and thank you very much. See you in part 2.